Now, the 2010 World Cup provided a platform for African journalists to cover the tournament for the first time ever on home soil. Kenya's Robin Toskin was one of the reporters who chronicled the biggest football competition in South Africa. CGTN's Tuli Tshabalala brings us his story.
Africa's bid to host the FIFA World Cup started way back in 1994, when Morocco lost out to the United States of America. And so, when the 2010 Mundial was awarded to South Africa, most sports journalists in the continent salivated for the chance to cover the tournament on home soil.
It was a dream come true. You know, I started watching the World Cup final 1986, and then I watched 90, 94, 98, and I was like, how can it feel? You know, how does it feel? You know, to watch the game live. I didn't know at some point that I would be the one even covering the World Cup, but then it happened 2010. Africa won that bid, and South Africa was given that chance. And it was just crossing the fingers that that day would just come and that I would be selected by my company, the Standard Group, to go and do the coverage. And what an experience it was.
Being an African World Cup, hopes were high that one of the record's 6 continental teams could go all the way. It was Ghana that came closest, missing out on a semi-final spot to Uruguay on post-match penalties after Asamoah Gyan missed a spot kick deep into stoppage time.
Now, it came to a point when Asamoah Gyan was now to make history. I looked at him, but something just skipped in my heart, and I thought, well, this guy is going to miss this penalty. Because I looked at his posture, the way he was holding himself, and then he looked up at the screen just in front of him, and I think something just went wrong with his thinking. So when he struck that ball and hit the crossbar, I knew, well, this is the end for Ghana. I felt that they were not going to make it out through penalties, and well, as history has it, they failed to qualify to the semi-finals.
The tournament had everything in it, including controversy that saw a Frank Lampard goal denied by a referee in a game England eventually lost 4-1.
Comes this Lampard ghost goal, and then the cameras were panning on Sepp Blatter. Remember, Sepp Blatter is the one who really pushed for Africa to host this tournament. And now what happens? A ghost goal that again puts more pressure on him, and I felt, well, let's see if he was going to get out of it. Of course, other politics came into play, and he went out of the FIFA house. But that goal itself, it sent everyone, you know, talking about the need for technology. That was a goal. It crossed the line by, you know, yards, but the referee didn't see it.
For Toskin, who was there throughout the tournament, the final presented him with all the action he had dreamt of.
But what a final it was. I will cherish that final. I watched the 2014 World Cup, Germany, Argentina. I tried to compare with 2010 South Africa. I think that final, Spain versus the Netherlands, was one of the best I've watched in many years.
It may be 10 years since the tournament was staged on the continent, but the memories of a World Cup on home soil will always be a career highlight for Toskin and other African journalists who covered South Africa 2010. Tuli Tshabalala, CGTN.